What's going on, YouTube family? This is your man Pristine, back with another video. Welcome to the unboxing for the OnePlus N10 5G. Now, the N stands for Nord, and I know about 6 months ago, OnePlus, they released the OnePlus Nord, which is basically, well, not basically, but it is OnePlus's mid-range brand of device. And you know, it's not really a surprise, especially in this day and age where, you know, we're really, you know, 5G is really starting to pick up steam, but a lot of 5G devices, they can be pretty costly. And we're now starting to see, you know, 5G rolling out for mid-range devices. Before you know it, we're going to have 5G budget devices. You know, this has to be one of the most affordable offerings for a 5G device. This device cost, I got it from T-Mobile. I believe it is a T-Mobile exclusive. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong about that, but you can get it through an upgrade for $299, and the full retail price is $329.99. I mean, so that's actually not bad for a 5G device. Now, there are some differences between the Nord 10 5G and the OnePlus Nord that came out about 6 months ago. I know some of those differences off the top of my head. I'll talk about those a little bit more as the video goes on. But for now, I'm just going to go down the spec sheet. You guys know how I typically do with my unboxings, and so timestamps will be down below in the description for you guys to, you know, flip around the different segments based on the information that you want to know, so that you don't have to watch or skim through the whole video if you don't want to. And yeah, you already know. I mean, questions, comments, or feedback of any kind down below in the description box. All right, so let's go. Pardon me. All right, so for the display, we've got a 6.49-inch 1080 by 2400 Full HD Plus IPS LCD display. So it's not an OLED panel or anything like that. We've got a 20:9 aspect ratio. We've got a 405 ppi pixel density. We've got 2.5D Gorilla Glass 3. And the height on this device is it's 163 millimeters. The width is 74.7 millimeters, and the thickness is 8.95 millimeters. This phone weighs 190 grams. All right, now the internal specifications, we've got the Snapdragon 690, which is a 5G chipset. This is one of the new chipsets from Qualcomm, one of the new mid-range 5G chipsets. So Snapdragon 690 SoC. We've got an Adreno 619L GPU. We've got 6 gigs of RAM. We've got 128 gigabytes of storage, which can be expanded up to 512. We are running Oxygen OS, and I love Oxygen OS. I think Oxygen OS and One UI from Samsung have to be two of my most favorite user interfaces. So Oxygen OS over Android 10, and we're running an octa-core CPU. Now, I'm not exactly sure if this phone is going to be getting the Android 11 update. If it is, I'm not sure when that's going to be, but I hope that we'll get the Oxygen OS update that is the equivalent to the Android 11. So we'll see about that. Now, on the cameras, we've got a quad camera system set up on the rear. So we've got a 64 megapixel main sensor with electronic image stabilization. That's f1.79 aperture. We've got an 8 megapixel ultra wide sensor. That's an f2.25 field of view. It's an ultra wide. So the field of view is 119 degrees field of view, which is pretty solid. I mean, typically when the ultra wide cameras were first introduced to us by LG, you know, the field of view was 120 degrees. And so it's good to see that we've got 119 here. I know that some have had like 105 or something like that. It's like it will barely zoom out. So it's good to see that we've got, you know, 119 here. Then we've got a 2 megapixel macro lens at f2.4 aperture. And then we've got another 2 megapixel monochrome lens also at f2.4. All right, now the selfie camera is a 16 megapixel sensor featuring electronic image stabilization. That is f2.05 aperture, and that's featuring 1080p recording at 30 or 60 frames per second with face unlock HDR, stereo flash, and facial retouching. Let's see, we also have cine aspect ratio video recording, ultrashot HDR, nightscape, macro, portrait, pro mode, panorama, AI scene detection, and raw image. Those are with the front facing cameras. The rear camera featured LED flash, autofocus, 4K recording at 30 frames per second, 1080p recording at 30 or 60 frames per second, super slow motion at 1080p at 120 frames per second, 720p video at 240 frames per second. And then there's also a video editor as well that comes in the camera app. Now the battery department, we've got a 4,300 milliamp hour battery. We do have a Type-C port for charging. We do have warp charge at let's see, 30T fast charging. And so, you know, OnePlus, y'all know OnePlus is pretty well known for their charging speeds. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. Let's see, additional features here. We've got Bluetooth 5.1, face unlock, a rear mounted fingerprint reader. That's a rarity on a OnePlus device. I feel like we haven't had an actual fingerprint reader on a OnePlus device since the OnePlus 3, maybe. Maybe it was the OnePlus 3T or the OnePlus 5 or something like that. But we do have a rear-mounted fingerprint sensor on the back of the OnePlus N10 5G here. We've got dual stereo speakers. Again, 5G capabilities, NFC, and there is a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack on this device. The only color that this is in is Midnight Ice. And yeah, that is about it, ladies and gentlemen. And so the box here, you see the N10, and then you see there we got the little OnePlus logo. To the right of the box, we've got OnePlus, just a typical black box, another OnePlus logo right there. On the left, we've got OnePlus Nord N10 5G. You can see that. And then on the bottom, we've got our serial number, IMI, all that kind of stuff. And then just some literature there on the bottom of the box. All right, so we'll go ahead and crack that open. Oh, and that's the receipt to the device. And here, ladies and gentlemen, okay, T-Mobile SIM card, don't need that. So here is our SIM ejection tool. And then we've just got our start guide and, you know, the warranty information, all that kind of stuff. And here is the device itself. So we'll go ahead and get that out of the plastic there. Wow, okay, that's beautiful. But I can already tell that's going to be a fingerprint magnet. But I got my case delivered from Amazon right here, so I'll be able to go ahead and slap that on there and help protect that beautiful finish. And let's see, I don't want to scratch up the device. Go ahead and peel this little sticker off if I can. All right, I'll get that later. Don't want to spend too much time on that. But we'll go ahead and power the device on. I believe we've got some juice. Okay, there we go. A little haptic feedback action indicating that the phone has been turned on. All right, and so we've got our red charge cable, you know, typical for OnePlus. And then here is our 30-watt wall adapter that is going to give you blazing fast charging speeds. And it's interesting that there is not a there's no case in the box, which is surprising because typically OnePlus, you know, they'll make sure that they'll put a case in the box for you. But again, I'd already ordered mine on Amazon. I'll drop a link below in the description if you want to order this case. This is just a standard rubber clear case, TPU. I can't even remember the name of the brand, but it was like $7-8. It's got some shock absorbency, you know, on the corners and stuff like that. So if you drop your device, it's going to give it some protection. So yeah, we'll take a look around the device. Again, 6.49 inches. So, I mean, by today's standards, I mean, it's not that big, you know, pretty much the norm nowadays are phones that are like 6.5 and above, but I like the feel. You know, I mean, the phone, it's not, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've watched some other reviews on this device. Some people said that it's chunky and clunky. Like, I don't really get that feel. Okay, let's go ahead and get this off because this paper's bugging me. There we go. Yeah, it doesn't really feel clunky to me. I mean, it just, I don't know, it's kind of slippery. Like, I mean, so you definitely want to get a grip on this thing. But 6.49 inches, you see we've got our little hole punch camera there, which is the 16 megapixel selfie camera. You can see the bottom bezel is a little bit thicker than what it typically is. I know the OnePlus Nord, I mean, you know, the screen to body ratio was pretty high. But on this one, you know, the bezels are a little bit more evident, more obvious, especially here on the bottom. I mean, it's nothing too crazy. It's not too dramatic, but it is there. You know, it is a bigger bezel than what we're used to seeing on a lot of devices. Okay, now to the right of the device, we've got our power button. And that is all we have to the right. Up top, it is totally clean. I was thinking that maybe we were gonna have like a noise canceling mic or something, but that, well, nope, actually, yeah, so we've got a noise canceling mic right there, if you can see that. Okay, to the left of the device, we've got, this is the SIM tray right here, which it holds a nano SIM and an SD card slot if you want to expand the memory. And then here is our volume rocker up and down. All right. On the bottom, headphone jack, another noise canceling mic. Here's our Type-C port. And then here is the bottom firing speaker. Again, we have dual stereo speakers, and so you can see that little slit right there up top. That's going to be the top firing speaker. I mean, so that's going to be the speaker that's going to offer a lot of the treble and the highs and stuff like that. That bottom firing speaker is going to be, you know, your mids and your deeper tones and stuff like that. Now, around the back of the device, we've got little OnePlus logo right there, our fingerprint sensor, and here is our quad cam setup. All right, so that, ladies and gentlemen, is the first look, fresh out of the box, of the OnePlus N10 5G. Just take a quick peek at the cosmetics of the device. Beautiful looking device. I'm gonna go ahead and get it set up. I'll stop the video for a second, get some information put into the phone, and then I'll be right back with you at the desktop. All right, hold it down. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are back at the desktop for the new OnePlus Nord 10 5G. Now, I did the unboxing last night, and typically when I do these unboxing videos, I'll just do it in one swoop, right? You know, I'll unbox everything. We'll take a look at the cosmetic hardware, tear everything out of the box, check out all the inbox contents, whatever. You know, I'll stop the video for a little bit, get everything set up, get my information on the phone, or a little bit of information that I need to do the fingerprint setup and all that, just to get it to the desktop, and then boom, you know, here we are. Well, it was real late last night, so I was like, I'm not gonna finish that unboxing tonight. So, you know, today being Friday, January 22nd, you know, I got everything set up that I needed to, slap my main SIM card in the phone, took it with me to work. So I've been rocking with the N10 5G all day now, right? And I gotta say, you know, you can never pay too much attention to what you hear. What you talking about, Pristine? I'm so glad y'all asked. I watched a few videos on this device before I picked it up, and a lot of people slammed this phone. A lot of people had negative things to say about this phone because of the fact that I'm not sure if this is the successor to the OnePlus Nord that came out 6 months ago from OnePlus, or maybe this is just like a different version, because when the Nord initially came out 6 months ago, they didn't bring it over here to North America. You know what I mean? It was released in other regions. And so you either had to get it imported or you just didn't get it at all. And so, you know, now that they're like, okay, well, OnePlus is going to release some Nord mid-range versions of phones in North America, this is what we get. We get the N10, and then there's another one that's like 180 bucks. I mean, you're talking about budget. I mean, it's got like a Snapdragon 410 or 480 or something like that, 3 gigs of RAM or something like that. Like your real budget conscious, you know, device. And so, you know, a lot of people were slamming it because they were comparing it to the Nord that came out 6 months ago. There's some things that this phone has over that device. There's some things that device has over this device. But in my using this phone all day today, I have learned that for the precious price of $299, if you get this through T-Mobile as an upgrade, or the full retail price, which is $329.99, you are getting a hell of a value, because you're getting a lot of phone for not a whole lot of money. If you're not familiar with Oxygen OS is OnePlus's it's their user interface, right? You know, it's the software that they use on top of Android, and it has to be one of the most robust user interfaces that there is, but at the same time still being extremely close to stock Android, if that makes sense. I mean, it's just basically, it's a, you know, there's going to be a lot of things about this device that are going to be recognizable to you Android users out there. But with Oxygen OS, you're going to have a lot of other things to play with, a lot of other things to customize and change, a lot of things that you can do with your device that a lot of other just stock Android devices aren't offering, which is why my two favorite UIs is Oxygen OS and One UI with Samsung. I love what Samsung is doing with their user interface. All right, now, so again, you know, using the device, as I mentioned, we have a 90 hertz display. Now, this isn't an OLED display. You know, it's, you know, again, you know, I understand, you know, OnePlus, they had to cut corners somewhere. I mean, so this is a 1080p Full HD plus IPS LCD panel. And some people may argue and gripe, oh my God, it's 2021 and LCD displays. Man, look, this display, let me zoom in a little bit. For the people out there that think that you're going to have issues with this display, and I've heard other people in other videos talking about how, oh, the phone, you know, the brights don't go so bright, and, you know, you're going to have difficulty in different lighting conditions, or if you're outdoors and it's a sunny day and different glares on your device. It's like, man, kill all that, man. Get the phone in your hand for yourself and test it out. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, a lot of the negativity that I heard about this device before I bought it, and especially after I bought it, like I bought it last weekend and I was like, should I return it? Should I even waste my time reviewing this phone? And I'm glad I didn't, because again, it's just another classic example of what other people's opinions are. What people slam this phone for are the things that I love about the device. You know what I'm saying? And just on top of the fact that it is an excellent value. All right, so again, you know, we've got this full HD plus 1080p panel, LCD panel. It's not OLED, but does it need to be? Absolutely not. We've got the 90 hertz display. Okay, you're getting a higher refresh rate, you know, which is going to give you a smoother experience while you're navigating around with your device for $300. We're getting a 5G with a 90 hertz display, among many other things, you know, for $329.99. Mind you, like I said, if you buy it outright, full retail is $329.99. If you get this as an upgrade at T-Mobile, you get it for $299. It's 30 bucks off. All right, and which is what I did. You know, I was just like, yeah, maybe get that upgrade, man. Got it for the $299, cashed them out, and I was up out there. You know what I mean? So, but I mean, still, $329.99 for this offering is not a bad price at all, because me, in all actuality, I think that OnePlus could easily charge $399, you know, $449.99 for this device. This is a really, really good device. I mean, so you're really getting a lot of bang for your buck at either $299 or $329.99. Now, we got the double tap to turn off the display. Double tap to on the display. Okay, the facial recognition is lightning quick. You can set the phone down, pick it up, and that's going to get you to your ambient display, which you can change that clock if you want to. The facial recognition is super fast. I got it set to where I have to, swipe up to do that additional step. Let me go ahead and zoom out so you guys can see that. Okay, so double tap. Oh, come on. There we go. And I don't know if you guys see the little unlock thing up there, little icon. Let's see. Oh, now the camera doesn't want to focus, but it's unlocked. I mean, so, it's super quick. The facial recognition on this phone is super fast. Okay, we've got the fingerprint sensor on the rear, which is also lightning quick. You can see the screen is off. I'm barely going to tap it. And I've got the case on because this phone, it is a fingerprint magnet and it is extremely slippery. Okay, and a couple of times just while I was preparing to shoot this footage, I almost dropped this bad boy. And I'm not in the drop test. Right? I don't do drop tests at Pristine Mobile Tech. Y'all got to go somewhere else if you want to see some drop tests with the devices. You know what I'm saying? I ain't about that life. So I'm like, slap the case on. Nice little rubber TPU, $7.99 on Amazon. I'll drop the link below in the description. It's a little clear TPU case. You can see it's got the little indents on the corners, to give it some shock resistance, because typically when you drop a phone, it will fall on those corners. You can see it's got all the cutouts for the microphone right there up top. On the bottom, we've got the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, another cutout for the microphone right there, Type-C port for the speakers. Man, I mean, yeah, this case is solid for $7.99. Okay, so here we go. Fingerprint sensor, boom, barely tapped it, and it's open. Double tap the lock, just like that. Let me give you one more demonstration. Screen off. Boom, just like that. I mean, so, the fingerprint sensor works 100% of the time with no issues at all whatsoever. All right, now, again, that's that 90 hertz refresh rate, that smoothness, that fluidity. I love it. We got the Google Now feed. What do us reviewers like to say? Like a hot knife through butter, baby. You know what I'm saying? Like a hot knife through butter. Yes, sir. Okay, no lag or stuttering at all whatsoever. Again, we've got 6 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of onboard storage that can be expanded up to 512. We've got the Snapdragon 690. Now, some people, they were comparing this phone to the Nord that came out like 6 months ago, because that phone has the Snapdragon 730G, I believe, but I don't think that phone is 5G enabled. And so some people were just kind of feeling like, okay, well, this is a 5G phone, but it's got a 600 series Snapdragon, SoC chip in it. How's that going to perform? It's probably going to lag. It's probably going to stutter. It's probably going to do this and that. It's not going to perform. Well, we'll pop into, Spotify real quick. We will pop into SoundCloud real quick. And these are, real content heavy applications that I'm getting into, ladies and gentlemen. And you can just see the speeds in which it is opening up these things. YouTube here. Took a little bit of a second to get into that, but no problems there. No problems at all whatsoever. As you can see, we're scrolling through that like a hot knife through butter. Okay, let's go to Amazon. Let's go shopping a little bit. You know what I'm talking about, baby? Spend a little money. Yeah. See, just pop into Amazon real quick. Just opening up some applications. I'm connected to my Wi-Fi right now. I mean, so, data speeds are going to differ. It can be faster or slower. It's just going to depend on, the strength of your Wi-Fi connection. But the purpose of 5G is basically to increase speeds, which there is a little bit of a speed difference here. But 5G is going to bring us closer to the speeds that we're used to seeing, when we're connected to a really good Wi-Fi network. Okay. And so the internet in my house is really good. And so like I said, I mean, you know, data speeds are going to differ. So, you know, the speed in which things are loading up here, depending on your network and who your carrier is, it may be this fast, it may be faster, or maybe a little slower. Okay. Again, we've got 6 gigs of RAM. You guys are familiar with the gestures now in 2021. I don't really need to go over that, but you do have the options. If you're not really savvy on the gestures, you got the navigation keys, and I'll show you where to put those, you know, how to turn those on. But here we go. You know, everything is held in the RAM. We go right back to SoundCloud. Okay. If we want to go back to Spotify, it's right there. All right, let's, where we at? Let's go back to Best Buy. Boom, Best Buy is right there. And I like the fact too, when you're in all your recents and things, all your pages that you got open, I like the fact that at the bottom here, like it tells you, like, you know, if you're just glancing at the phone, like it shows the little app icon right there to let you know, okay, that's what that is. That's Spotify, you know, that's the Best Buy. Like, I like that. Like, I haven't really seen that in other devices. I really like that. You know, it's the little things, ladies and gentlemen. It's the little things. You know, you know what I'm saying? I'm so easy to please, baby. I ain't hard to please at all. It's just the little things. I like that. I like that. All right, so we'll go ahead and close those things out now. Boom. Let's get into the settings, and we'll drop down to About Phone. And again, this is where you're going to see, if you don't believe the specifications that I read off to you, what do we got here? We got the Snapdragon 690, 6 gigs of RAM. Can you see that? 128 gigs of storage. You know, 90 hertz refresh rate, 6.4 full HD plus display. I mean, now another thing that there was an update as soon as I took this phone out of the box yesterday and started getting things set up. There was an update that was ready for me, and so I believe it was some bug fixes, a couple tweaks, and it was also the most recent security. Well, it was the security patch for December. I believe it's the December 5th security patch. All right. Again, we are running Android 10. So there's your confirmation for that. Like I said a little earlier in the video, I'm not exactly sure if this phone is going to get Android 11. I hope it does, but that's yet to be seen. Android 10 still works fine for me. I mean, so that's not really a big deal to me. Yeah. So I mean, as you can see, I mean, this phone, it flies, it performs. All right, now, typical Android fashion, if you hold down on the display, that's what's going to get you to your wallpaper, you know, widgets, home settings. If you click on home settings, we've got add icon on the home screen. So like, say if you download a new app from the Play Store, you know, if you want it to go to your home screen, it will. Or if you just want it to go in your app drawer, you can tell it to do that as well. Swipe down to access. Now, this is interesting because typically when we swipe down, we're used to seeing notifications and getting to our quick toggles, right? Well, you can disable that, or you could choose a shelf, hit save. Now, when you swipe down, whoa. Okay, let me try that again. Okay, hit apply. Okay, I'm not sure what's happening, but it's different. Like it doesn't, hold up. Okay, y'all, so my bad. I had it a little bit twisted. So, of course, when you swipe down from the top, that's going to take you to your notification shade. And then obviously you're going to be able to access your quick toggles. And you can see how I've got, you know, the whole black and red thing going on there. I'll show you how to do that here momentarily. Now, what that other thing is, when you long press and you hit home, when you go to swipe down access, you can either hit, you can turn on shelf. And so what that does is, say if you swipe down from midpoint of the display, now this is the shelf. Okay. And so it's like you can write a memo, you know, there's your toolbox right there. You've got your step count, your recent apps that you just, you know, not too long ago utilized. We've got a dashboard here. And then we've got some, you know, parking location, and you can customize these little cards to be what you want them to be. Okay, so that's pretty dope. You know, I like that feature right there. All right, so we pop into settings, And of course, we've got the usual suspects here. You know, of course, I've got do not disturb on, so I don't get phone calls and all that kind of thing, distractions, notifications, because my main SIM card is in this device. And so if something does come through, my apologies for that. I don't want to distract you guys from concentrating on the device itself. But of course, you know, we got Wi-Fi and network. When I click on Bluetooth and device connection, you can see right there, we do have NFC right there, which I have turned off. I don't really use it, so why have it turned on and have it drain in battery life? But again, you know, 300 bucks, 330 at the most, plus taxes, you know, NFC, 5G. I mean, you're getting a lot of bang for your buck. Cast, tap and pay, printing, Chromebook, nearby share, Android Auto. That's all under Bluetooth and device connection. Now, if we pop into display, here we've got adaptive brightness, display the white balance, which you can control that. And so you can have a more cooler white balance, or you can have a more warmer white balance, which is gonna, you know, warmer is gonna be a little bit more of a yellowish tint, cooler is gonna give it a little more of a bluish type of tint. All right. Sleep, that's, you know, however long, you know, you want your phone to take before it goes to sleep. Typically, I always leave that at either a minute or 30 seconds. When we pop in advanced, this is where you can change the refresh rate. All right, so I'll go ahead and zoom in a little bit so you guys can get a closer look at that. And I'll move the device down a little bit. Okay, we've got refresh rate, front camera display area, apps to display in full screen. So when we go to refresh rate, again, keep it at 90, you know, because it's gonna give you that fluidity, you know, that I like, that extra smoothness. It's just a good look, and it just makes the phone feel a little bit more snappy. 60 hertz, that's just gonna be back to what we're used to on mobile phones that we've had for years. And it's like, you know, if there's ever an option to go 90 hertz or 120 hertz, bet that, you know what I'm saying? Because I really want that smoother experience. And so that's where you go to change the refresh rate. All right, now we've got front camera display area. Now this is where, you know, we've got the little hole punch cutout right here. It's hard to see right now because I've got the, let's see, the dark mode right there. There's not, but if you want to hide the front camera, then, well, I want you guys to see that. Night mode. Nope, that's not it. Where's it at? Oh, customization. All right, so here we go. Theme. Okay, so turn the theme back on. Now, if we go back to display and go into advanced. Now, so what it does is, well, you still can't see the difference because it's like black borders up here at the top. But basically, when you guys show the front camera, you could see the front camera. But if you don't want the front camera to be visible at all, then you hit this and it's just going to add a black bar at the top, which is going to camouflage the camera. Okay. I don't mind the camera showing. It's not really a big deal to me, but it's like if you don't want the camera to show, it's going to add a black bar at the top. And basically, it's just going to look like it's got a bigger bezel at the top than what it actually does, right? It's got a thin bezel at the top, but then it's just going to add a black bar to make the bezel look thicker, you know? So that's what that does. It's hard to tell that when you've got the phone on dark mode, but that's the way that I like to play. So I just think that that gives it the dopest feel. And then of course, let's change those accent colors back to red because my favorite color combination is red and black. And you just see how it just, I was able to customize that just like that. And so that's how you get, you know, the black and red, you know, color combination, or you saw all those different colors that you could choose from. So you basically can customize the colors to be what you want them to be. All right, so pardon me, that's under advanced. We've got night mode, reading mode, ambient display. So when you lift up the display, you can choose for it to like show the clock. It's not necessarily always on display. It doesn't stay on all the time, but it's just, you know, when you lift up the phone, raise it up, it's going to show the time. It's going to show notifications on the screen, that kind of thing. And then, you know, if you want to be able to access those notifications or see them on the lock screen, then you can change the setting for it to show all notifications on your lock screen. But that's a little less private, you know, so if somebody gets a hold of your phone, they would be able to read your notifications as they're coming in if you elect to turn that on. And so I would recommend just turning that off, or have it show sensitive information so that it will tell you that a notification came in, but it's not gonna, you know, read off the information for people that you don't want to see, could possibly see your information. You get it? So contextual info, display message, show new notifications. I've got that turned on, and it just like light up the display, you know, whenever a new notification comes in. All right. So that is the ambient display. Font size, display scaling, status bar. This is where you can choose to, like your battery bar, you can choose the bar, which it's just that little battery icon right there at the top right. It can be a circle, which, you know, you can see depending on that circle that shows your battery life. Or for the time, you can show hours, minutes, and seconds, or show hours and minutes by default. I like the seconds. Sometimes I just like to look at the seconds to see how long it's going to take for that minute to go by, you know, see how quickly I can do something before it changes to the next minute or whatever. So I got seconds rolling, and you see that right there at the top. You know how it's 6:53, but then you got the little timer to the right. You know what I mean? And that's just counting down until it turns 6:54. All right, so I like that. And then we've got icon manager right there on the bottom of that. Okay, then we've got screen rotate and then screen saver. Now in customizations, again, we've got the present theme. That's where you can change your theme from light to dark. We've got wallpapers, clock style. When you click on clock style, these are the different clock styles that you can have on your ambient display. So here we've got the analog 1, analog 2, and of course somebody would call me while I'm shooting. I thought putting it on do not disturb would alleviate that, but I guess I was wrong. So we've got, interesting. So when I went into this setting yesterday for the first time, all I saw was analog 1, analog 2, analog 3, and the rest of them here. I didn't realize that you can scroll to the left, and this is where you can, you know, change that up if you want to, you know, that's the default. This is digital 1, digital 2. This is text clock, which is crazy. So, you know, you can see it's 3:17 or whatever. Like that's what text clock looks like if you want to elect for your ambient display to be that. That's pretty crazy right there. So I'm gonna just go with the default and go ahead and hit the check, and that's what saves that. So again, accent colors. This is where you can go to change, you know, the accent colors. Again, my favorite color is red, but then if you go to customize, you could change those colors. You can kind of tweak them to what you want them to be. So really, you know, it gives you, you know, again, this is one of the main reasons why I like Oxygen OS, because it just gives you way more customizing options than a lot of other phones that have user interfaces that offer some customizations, but it's not as deep as this, right? And I'm a huge fan of that. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of that. Oh my goodness. All right, my bad, y'all, for the stalker status. Jeez, calling me back to back like that, man. You know, don't do that. All right, so accent colors, again, this is where you can customize those colors to be what you want them to be. And then, of course, we've got the tone. So you could change the tone, how you want the tone to be. You could change the icons, you know, what the shapes are that you want the icons to be. You can change icon packs. Now, there's only 2, but there's more that you can download, okay? And then, of course, you've got the different fonts that you can download. You know, so if you've got bad eyes like me and you just need words and letters to be bigger on your display, then you can change the font size. And if the font sizes that come by default on the device aren't going to cut it for you, then you can download other fonts that will, and you can just rock with those. All right. So that is all under the customization. Now, of course, we've got sounds and vibration, buttons and gestures. So this is where you go when you want to customize your navigation bar. as far as how you navigate your phone. So we'll go to navigation and gestures. Now there's the back, home, and recents, navigation gestures, and then hide the bottom bar. Now I've got the navigation gestures here, which displays a little bar here on the bottom. All right. Now you can do away with that, and it's going to give you a tutorial on how to navigate your device without that little bar there across the bottom. Me, I'm a fan of the bar, so I elect to turn that off and bring the bar back. And the little bar, if you can't see it, it's that little bar that's right there at the bottom. Okay, now, if you just want the navigation keys, then you just simply hit the navigation button and you click on that, and you can change the button orientation. Wait, am I lying to you? Okay, navigation bar customization. Okay, so this is where you go to swap the buttons. So now when you hit swap buttons, like even though I'm a lefty, I use my phone mostly in my right hand. I'm very ambidextrous. So, you know, typically I like to have my back button on the right and, you know, my home button in the middle, and then the recents on the left. Left-handers, they use it the other way around if you normally rock with your phone in your left hand. And so I like the fact that you can change, you can swap, you know, the orientation. And then these are just, you know, long press action. You know, you click on that and you got all these different things that you can choose from what you want your phone to do if you long press on a certain button. Okay. Double tap action, right? If you double tap the device or double click a button, you can have it do no action, open voice menu, search assistant, turn off the screen, voice search, open shelf, open or close notification center, or open and close the split screen, right? So you got a lot of different things that you can choose from to, you know, design these buttons to do if that's what you want to do. All right, now I'm going to go back and I'm just going to bring back my navigation bar, because that's what I like. But as you can see, that's where you go to customize that. Quick gestures, you've got flip to mute. I'm a big fan of that. You just turn your phone on its face and it's gonna mute all notifications and phone calls. You got 3-finger screenshot. Again, just take 3 fingers, slide down slightly. You'll be able to take a screenshot. Raise to answer and switch. So, you know, if your phone's ringing, you just raise it up, put it to your ear. It'll answer the phone without you having to actually push the button or tap on the button on the screen to answer the call. We got double tap to wake. We've got music controls. And again, I've seen this in a lot of OnePlus devices where you could draw certain things like with your knuckle on the display to change tracks, you know, increase the volume, or go to the most recent track, you know, or the last track that you want to listen to pause the music. Different little things that you can, you know, draw with your knuckle on the display to control your music listening experience. I mean, so that's pretty dope. I've never really used that feature, but, you know, for those of you that do, it's there for you. All right. And so then we got double click the power button. That is set by default to launch the camera. So, you know, if you're just minding your business and something hits the fan real quick and you want to capture it real quick, just double tap the power button real quick. It'll take you right to your camera and you'll be ready to cop that footage. Okay, let's see. And then press and hold the power button. And that can either do, you know, one of two things, either turn off the phone or access the phone's menu, or access the voice assistant. Okay, so those are the two options that you've got if you press and hold the power button. All right. So now we've got apps and notifications, security and lock screen, privacy, location, battery. We click on battery. I mean, this is where you're going to have all your battery optimizations. You know, apps are running normally. You know, the phone, it has its own checker, you know, that will tell you whether or not apps are behaving the way that they're supposed to. Battery saver, battery optimizations. You know, these are the different apps that you can choose to disable when you want to optimize the battery. It gives you the choice to do that on your own. But then there's other optimizations that you can choose, but just be mindful again, when you do that, it's going to give you less access to certain things on the device because it's trying to, you know, maintain, you know, power so that you'll be able to sustain and do what you need to do with your device until you get to the charger for you to top it off. All right, so you got some options there to help you sustain battery life. Storage accounts, digital well-being and parental controls. It's where you can go to, you know, look at your digital well-being to see how you're using your device and access your parental controls. Google utilities. This is parallel apps, app locker, schedule, power on and off, pocket mode. I got that on just so that you're not like butt dialing people, you know, when your phone is in your pocket, fumbling around, stuff like that. OnePlus Switch, which is a very easy way to switch all of the content and all of your data from your old device to your new OnePlus device if you decide to get one of these. OnePlus Laboratory, and then Quick Reply and Landscape. See a lot of stuff here. And then when we go to System, accessibility, language and input, date and time, backup, reset options, OTG storage. We do have that. You can turn that on. I've got it off. Experience improvement programs, multiple users, RAM boost. Now RAM boost is on, and this is also going to help give your phone, you know, a smoother experience, especially when you're multitasking and you've got a lot of applications open at the same time. RAM boost is going to help your phone not have any slowdowns or lag or anything like that. I can't say that if I turn it off that you would experience a lot of that stuff. I mean, again, we've got 6 gigs of RAM on this device, and I've had a bunch of apps open earlier today and it ran fine with no problems. But that was with RAM boost on. I can't imagine it would be too different of an experience with RAM boost off. But I just wanted to show you guys that to give you an indication that you do have that. And by default, it is turned on. All right, so if you don't want that on, you can turn it off and, you know, be up like that. Okay. So then multiple users, RAM boost, system update, and power off. And so that's all we got, ladies and gentlemen, for all of the settings and things, customization options, gestures, all that stuff that you can do with this device. All right, now let's get to these cameras. Now, again, here on the front camera, we've got a 16 megapixel selfie camera. And then on the rear, we've got 4 lenses. We've got a 64 megapixel primary, an 8 megapixel ultra wide, a 2 megapixel macro, and a 2 megapixel monochrome lens. All right, so look, let's go ahead and open up the camera, shall we? Now, on the camera app here, oh, a little bumpy cam there. My apologies for that, ladies and gents. Pardon me. As you can see, we got photo, we've got portrait, we've got nightscape, we've got pro mode, and then the other way we've got video, slow motion, panorama, and time lapse. And just gonna get it back to photo here. I gotta say, this camera is pretty impressive. Very reminiscent to the cameras that we found on the OnePlus 8. And, you know, people said that those cameras were underachieving cameras, especially, you know, when you compared it to the OnePlus 8, the 8 Pro and the 8T. But in my experience with using the OnePlus 8, and I was compelled to get the 8 because of the fact that it just really didn't get no love. And what is it with companies doing this? Even like with this Galaxy S21 Ultra, right? You've got the Galaxy S21, the S21 Plus, and the S21 Ultra. Now you see all these commercials and things about the new S21, but the only device that you see in the commercial is the Ultra. A lot of the device, you know, out of those 3 that people are talking about and doing reviews on is the Ultra. So it's like, why is it that Samsung, okay, you know, if you only wanted to market one device, then why not just make the Ultra and that's it, right? They make it seem like the S21 Plus and especially the S21, which is the least expensive of them, you know, and that one is going for what, $799. So it's still an $800 phone, you know, which that ain't cheap. But that is like the stepchild, You know what I mean? And so that's why I was compelled to get the OnePlus 8, because you just kept hearing about the OnePlus 8 Pro or the OnePlus 8T. And, you know, the OnePlus 8 was just, was just nothing. So I got the OnePlus 8 because I was curious. I'm like, man, that OnePlus, they're not really advertising it like that. Just like Samsung, they're not advertising the S21. They're advertising that Ultra. And I don't like that. And because of that, I'm feeling like I'm being more so compelled to get my hands on the S21, the smaller variant, and just kind of, do my own comparisons, it compared to the Ultra, what it's lacking. Obviously, the Ultra is going to have the most, which is why it costs so damn much. But, I just wonder why these companies, they do stuff like that. But I mean, these cameras here are very reminiscent to the experience that I had on the OnePlus 8. And those cameras were phenomenal in my opinion. Some people slammed them and said that they were underachieving cameras. No, not by the least bit. The average consumer would have been more than happy with the cameras on the OnePlus 8. And I think that the average consumer would be more than happy than the camera tech on this device, especially at a $300 price point or a $330 price point. Up top here, this is where we got our camera. This is our auto flash. This is, what is that? Oh, that's the 64 megapixel mode. Turn that off. This is for super macro. And these are just some little filters that you've got to toggle the color scheme if you want. All right, now we'll go to settings. We've got Ultra Shot HDR. We click on aspect ratio. We got a 4:3, full or 1:1. We'll just stay at 4:3. We've got smart content detection, mirrored selfie photo, long press shutter. If you click on that, it either records video or takes burst photos. I'll just leave it at record video. That's what it's set to by default. Okay. And then for video, we've got video resolution. So here you can see we've got 1080p at 30 frames, 1080p at 60 frames, 4K at 30 frames, 4K Cine at 30 frames. Okay, and then the resolution for the front is just 1080p 30 or 60. So we do not have 4K recording for that 16 megapixel selfie camera. 4K recording is only for the rear camera. Okay, so we'll go out of that. Just wanted to show you guys the different resolutions that you can choose from. We've got high efficiency video, record quality. By default, it's on 720 at 120 frames per second, but you can scale it down to 720p at 240 frames per second. All right. We've got histogram, horizontal reference line, custom modes, got time lapse. Okay, so those are the modes that are already on the camera app when you open it up. So it's like you can disable those. If you only want photo and video there, then you could just hit the minus sign and take away time lapse, take away panorama, take away slow motion, take away portrait, nightscape, or pro mode. So I think that's dope because a lot of phones are just like, well, this is what we placed on the camera app and that's what you got to rock with. Well, some people are minimalist. Like I'm a minimalist. I may not like a bunch of stuff on the screen. I may only want the things that I use the most on the screen. And this gives you the option to do that. I like that. I haven't really seen that too much in a lot of other devices. And so I like the fact that I'm able to do this. Like I said, it's the little things, ladies and gents. It's the little things. Okay, we got a grid. Let's get that 3x3 action going on. Shot on OnePlus watermark. Let's turn that on. Okay, shutter sound, store location data, and about. Now, ladies and gentlemen, have already taken some photos with this device. This was me when I was at work earlier. And mind you, this is through a window that was very smudged up. This doesn't do it justice. You'd have to see, actually here, I'm just gonna take a couple of photos real quick because this doesn't really do it justice. All right, so let me see. Let's see here. Oh, no, don't want macro. That wouldn't be good. All right, let's take a quick selfie. Nice quick shutter speed. Now look, oh my goodness. Now that quality is just ridiculous. That quality is just the sharpness and the attention to detail, the color accuracy is just, oh my goodness. And then zooming in on it, I mean, you don't lose resolution. The clarity is just, this is crazy to me. this is crazy to me. All right, hold on. So let me take a picture with the rear cam. And let's see here. Okay, so just got a quick photo. I'm in my office. You know, this is my little entertainment setup. My little PS5 right there, my Xbox One Series S. Look at that. Look at this. Oh my goodness. The clarity and just, oh man. Like I said, I mean, those days of finding a trash camera on a device nowadays those days have gone by the wayside. I mean, clearly, I mean, there's camera tech that's going to be better than others, but I mean, and I'm not saying in any way, shape, or form that I expected for these cameras to be trash just because of how inexpensive the device is. But I'm just saying these cameras, they far exceed my expectations. Like, this is OnePlus, and I've always had good experiences with camera tech with OnePlus. I'm not an expert. Like I always say, I just know what I see with my eyes, and my eyes don't lie, and these still shot images and these videos that I take do not lie. Okay, and so I've always had really good experiences with OnePlus and camera tech, you know, so I know that some of the more camera savvy individuals out there in their reviews, they break down, you know, the photos to science and the resolution, and it's got noise and it's got grain and this and that. Nah, man, I'm just like, hey, take the photo. How does a photo look? Is it straight? Is it a pass? Or is it trash? Period. That's how I rate it. You know what I'm saying? You know, and for the average consumer, these cameras are going to be more than suitable. These cameras are going to easily supersede the expectations of the average consumer. Okay? They're going to far exceed the expectation of the average consumer. These cameras are amazing, in my personal opinion. Stay tuned for the dedicated camera review because that's going to be coming soon. And then, of course, that's going to be followed up with the full pristine review. Come on, man. Y'all know how I do. If you're new to the channel, typically, you know, I do an unboxing, do a dedicated camera review, follow that up with the full review. If there's anything else, you know, noteworthy about the device, I may make other videos about it. But typically for each device, I do 3 videos per device. All right, that's the formula here at Pristine Mobile Tech. Okay, if there's something that you guys want to see more of on a specific device, then I'll make more, you know, videos on a specific device pertaining to those particular topics. All right, so that's where I'm gonna close this one. Again, timestamps will be down below in the description box. I know that my unboxings are super long because I'm just trying to go over everything so that you guys know exactly what you're getting into if you decide to commit to this device. Again, just using it for a day, heavy. You know, this is a lot of phone for not a lot of money. This is a major value. You know, you're getting 5G, you're getting the high refresh rate, you're getting some really nice cameras. Did I mention you're getting the dual stereo speakers that sound really good? I mean, you know, you're getting a lot. You're getting a lot. You're getting a headphone jack. You know, hey, there's a lot going on here, you know. And so this, ladies and gentlemen, is the OnePlus N10 5G, the OnePlus Nord 10 5G. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up button. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to expose yourself to tons of more videos that I've done like this one. Check out my catalog. A lot of phones to choose from if you're in the market for a new device. Got a lot of good stuff up there. So check that out. And of course, you know, I'm chilling in the comments. That's where you can hit me, get a hold of me. Hit me with any questions, comments, or feedback of any kind. Hit that notification bell so that when my videos go live, you'll get notified. You can be one of the first to check it out. And again, you know, let me know down in the comments what you think about what you saw. All right. So, man, you guys already know. Please stay safe, get spiritually fit, and I will catch y'all in the next video. Thanks for letting me bend your ear. Peace.